So we just finished looking at ratios, which compares two quantities of the same type, and they have to be in the same units. A ratio is different. A rate is different. A rate is a measurement. So that's, a rate is a measurement that compares two different quantities. So this is really important. A rate compares two different quantities. An example of a rate might be, can you tell me what? Speed. Give me an example of a speed limit that you know. Yeah, 60 kilometres per hour. That means you travel 60 kilometres in 1 hour. So when I do rate problems, I go 60 kilometres per hour means, I always break it down to what it means. It makes the question a lot easier. Means that you travel 60 kilometres in 1 hour. That's what it means. Another example of a rate. Pay rate. No. Anyone that works? The pay rate, $20 per hour, for example. $20 is the first quantity, per is the slash hour. All right? This means you receive, you know what that means, that you receive $20 for each 1 hour that you work. Okay? Now, we can simplify rates. Okay? So we're just going to look now at simplifying rates. And then we're going to solve some rate problems. So, question 6. Steak costs $4.55 for 160 grams. Calculate the cost as a rate in dollars per kilo. We know at the butchers it's always how many dollars per kilo. Okay? It's just that this person got 160 gram steak and it was $4.55. Now, it says to simplify a rate, write the rate as a fraction. So I've got $4.55 per 160 grams. I've written it as a fraction. But now what I want to do, I don't want the mass in grams, I want it in kilos. So how do I change 160 grams into kilos? So over here, 1,000 grams equals 1 kilogram. So I go 160 divided by 1,000 kilos and go back 1, 2, 3. Remember, you've got a calculator, so it's 0.16 of a kilo. So this $4.55 over 160 is the same as $4.55 over 0.16 kg. Notice if you divide the top row, the numerator, by the denominator, the units become dollars over kg, dollars per kilo. See, you know how I remember this? You know how you can write the fraction a half like that? Have you ever seen it written sideways? All right, same thing. Dollars divide by kilos. If I do dollars divide by kilos, you can write it sideways. You end up with dollars per kilo. So that's how I think of it. If you want dollars per kilo, just do your dollars divided by your kilos, because we wanted the rate in dollars per kilo. So you just put your dollars divided by how many kilos you've got. It's as simple as that. So on your calculator, $4.55 divided by 0.16 is 28.4375. Normally with money, we go dollars per kilo. Do you know what I mean? All right. So, but girls, that's not how we write money. It's to 2 decimal places. So what would it be? $28.44 approximately per kilo. Now, let's do this another way. We're going to do this same question another way. To simplify a rate, write the rate as a fraction, and once you've written it as a fraction, you then divide. And when you divide, you just end up with a single number, so you end up per kilo. It means that for 1 kilo, that's per 1 kilo, okay? That's the price per kilo. Now, what happens if I have the question $4.55 for 160 grams? What happens if I just divide those two numbers? So if I go the cost, what happens if I decided not to change 160 grams into kilos? When you divide $4.55 divided by 160, the whole number 160, what do you get? 47, yeah. So I would have got this 0.0284375 dollars per, what would be the units? You sure that there's that many zeros? Yeah, 1, 2, yeah, there is. Per gram. Do you get it? So if I just took those two numbers and divided, I get dollars over grams is dollars per gram. How could you have then got to the answer that I got to? Yeah, because you know what this means? It's actually, what does this mean in real life? How much are you paying for a gram? 0.028 is about 3 cents. You're paying about 3 cents for every gram. This means it's $0.02 or almost $0.03, which is about 3 cents for 1 gram. So therefore, for a kilo, you would times it by 1,000. Does that make sense? So that would be, if we go times 1,000 times 1,000, because if you've got 1,000 grams, you've got a kilo, it would be 28.4375 dollars per kilo. Now, as someone was asking before, how much is this for 100 grams? Yeah. So instead of timesing by 1,000, if I wanted for 100 grams, what would my answer have been? Point back 1, or I would have just multiplied these by 100. Yes, that's right. So if I take the top one and just multiply by 100 instead, that will give me the cost for 100 grams, which is $2.84 per 100 grams. Do you get what I've done? Yeah. All right, so if I wanted 1,000 grams or a kilo, I times by 1,000. If I want 100 grams, because this is the cost per gram, I then times it by 100 and get $2.84 for every 100 grams. Question 13, this one's fairly straightforward. A cricket team had a run rate of 4.9 runs per over. How many runs? I think I missed a word. What's the missing word? What's the missing word? Did. How many runs did the team score in 30 overs? Pretty straightforward. When you see a rate written like this, 4.9 runs, this slash means per over. So I'm going to write that out. What does this mean? It means 4.9 runs in 1 over, or for every over. See, once you understand what the rate means, runs slash over, see, you know how this is 4.9 runs and there's no number in front of over? It's for 1 over. So a rate, a simplified rate, is this quantity over 1 of the second quantity. So it's 4.9 runs in 1 over. So girls, if we have 30 overs, so how do you get from 1 to 30? You times by 30, watch. So this is how I like to do them. 4.19 runs in 1 over. If I want 30 overs, you know how they're asking you 30 overs? To go from 1 to 30, you times by 30. And write the rate, what it means. 4.9 runs per over. You need to be able to say it in normal words. That's 4.9 runs in 1 over. So therefore, in 30 overs, don't you just times it by 30? So I write that out and I say, I want 30 overs. So I write that under there. How do I get from 1 to 30? Times 30. What's 4.9 times 30?
147.
So 147 runs. Is it exact? Yeah. 147 runs in 30 overs. So question 14 says that someone went overseas. Michaela, actually. Michaela went overseas and she found that $750 Australian was equal to US $474.50. Probably, I'll write it again. Australian $750 is equal to US $474.50. That's what someone found when they were travelling overseas. Okay? The question is, part A, how much was or is $1 Australian dollar worth in US dollars? All right, this is a good question. Okay, let's just, before we even start, Do you think you're getting less US dollars or more US dollars for your money? Less. So if your answer's more than $1, you've done something wrong. So what are we going to, so we've got Australian 750 equals, I know I've written it 3 times, US 470, 450. How do I get to $1 Australian dollar? There. So if you write that out and you say, how do I go from 750 to 1? So this is like ratios. You know how we sort out our ratios table? If you do the same for rates, this is what I know and this is what I want. How do I get from 750 to 1? I divide by 750. So if I divide that by 750, I also divide this by 750. And this will definitely give me an answer less than 1. So what do I get? US, what's 470, 450 divided by $750? Let's hope it's more than 60 cents. What do we get? Point what? 0 point. Exactly. 0 point. Did it recur or anything like that? Or that's it? Okay. You say the Australian dollar is 76 cents or whatever. Can you write that in cents for me now? What's 0.6326 in cents? Isn't it 63? I can write it as 63.26 cents. And I don't lose any of my accuracy. Do you get what I'm doing? Because 0.63 is 63 cents with a bit more. So times it by 100 and it's the same as US 63.26 cents. Okay? Because they never give you the nearest cent when we're trading currency. Okay? Work out $1 US instead. You know how we just worked out $1 Australian dollar? I think it's safer to work out $1 US and then work out $200 US. Okay? Right, I know 470, 450 US is Australia's 750. So I want to go from US 474 to US 200. So how do I find, what's the path to get there? Why don't I go US $1? How do I go from 470, 450 to 1? Divide by what? Yeah. Do you notice in part A, I wanted $1 Australian, so I divided by 750. Do you get it? If I want $1 US, I divide by 470, 450. So I divide this by 470, 450, and what do I get? So $1 US is obviously more than $1 Australian dollar. $1 US is 1.5806. Is that exact?
No, then it goes
1, etc. I'm just going to go 1 ... Okay? Put an equal sign there. But I'm not going to clear it from my calculator because how do I go, if $1 US is that, so that's A1. The A is for Australian dollar. Okay? How do I go from $1 US to 200? What do I do? Times. If $1 US is that, anyone know what to do? What do I do? Once we know what $1 US is, because I'm trying to get to $200 US from this amount, and there's no direct pathway from 470, 450 to 200. So I go and work out what $1 US is first, and then I'll go, if I know what $1 US is, I can know what any amount of US dollars are. So 1 times 200 is 200. $1.58061 is what? Times 200 is? Etc. So if you round that off to 2 decimal places, because that's what money is in, it's $316.12. Question 16. A tap is dripping water at a rate of 40 drops per minute, and each drop of water, or each drop that comes out of the tap contains, that's 1.3 mils of water. How many litres of water will drip from the tap in one day? Okay, with this type of question, I just write down line by line what I know. So I just go 40 drops per minute. All right? Look what you're trying to end up with. How many litres in a day? You can either decide, what do you think might be the next step? I can either work on the drops or I can work on the minutes. I don't mind. But if you're getting 40 drops in a minute, what's the next thing you might think about? How many drops in an hour? Yep, great. So how do we go to an hour? Times by? Good. Times 60. I know it's still just drops, but that's okay. So 40 drops per, I'm going to go 1 minute. This is how many drops per 60 minutes in brackets, I'm just going to write an hour, okay? So if I've got 40 drops per 1 minute, if I times that by 60 and I times this by 60, I end up with 2,400 drops per 60 minutes or hour. I'm nearly there. I want to get to a day times what? It's 2,400 drops in an hour. To go from 1 hour to a day, I times by 24. So you times the 2,400 drops. If you've got this many drops in an hour, of course you're going to have more drops in a day. Times it by 24, what do we get? Drops in a day. But see, I don't want to know how many drops in a day. I want to know how many litres in a day. That's right. I'm going to convert the drops to mils first because every single drop is 1.3 mils of water. So every one drop is 1.3 mils. What should I, so 2 drops would be 2 times 1.3. 10 drops would be 10 times 1.3. Does it make sense? All right. Just now, I'm not changing this side. See, this is for a minute, this is for an hour, this is for a day. I times both. But I'm only changing how the drops look. So I go, it's 57,600 times 1.3 mils per 1 day. I'm only changing this drops into mils. Do you get that? It's still in the same amount of time. It's just like saying I've got, do you get what I'm saying? I'm not multiplying this 24 hours 1 day by anything, just changing, instead of reporting drops, I'm reporting mils. So what's the answer to that, 57,600? Anyone? Well, it's 60-something thousand, I'm sure, 70,000 on Earth.
74,800
Mils per 1 day. Now they want to know how many litres. Instead of talking about mils, how do I change that quantity to litres? Yeah, just divide it by 1,000. Yeah, so it's 74.88 litres per day. All right. Now what a litre is. Think of your 2-litre milk in the fridge. A solution contains 75 milligrams of a sedative per every 10 mils, okay? You know what a 10 mil little thing is. If a patient needs 975 milligrams of the sedative every day, per day, how much of the solution should the nurse prepare? Okay, so there's the question. I'm just going to write down what I know, that there's 75 milligrams of sedative in every 10 mils or equals 10 mils of solution. I want to work out 975 milligrams of sedative. Now, there's a few ways I can do it. How do I go directly from, we can think of the ratio problem. We can do it in one step, actually. 75, obviously, times something is 975. I don't know what that is at the top of my head, but how could you work it out what it is? Do that, 975 divided by 75. Do you get what I'm doing? And so 75, to get from 75 to 975, you obviously multiply, don't you? But I don't know what you multiply by. So if you don't know what to multiply by, remember with our ratio problems, don't you do 975 divided by 75? Do you get what I'm doing? So 975 divided by 75, what does that equal? What's the answer? Exactly 13. Oh, that's great. So times 13 times 13, got it? That's 975. There's no decimal there. So what's the answer? How many mils? So how do I go from 75 milligrams to 975 milligrams? I times by 13. What do I get? So 10 times 13 is?
What?
Hey, it's 130 mils. Now, there is another way that someone said to do. It's similar to this. Yeah, All right? It's easier. Some might think it's easier. There is another way. You know how the 75 milligrams belongs with the 10 mils? We go like this. 75 milligrams over 10 mils is equal to, 975 milligrams over X mils. Now, problem is my X is at the bottom. So 75 milligrams over 10 mils, see the rate that you dose the patient is not supposed to change, equals 975 over X. You know how that X is on the bottom? When X is on the bottom, we want you to flip, if you've got fraction equals fraction, flip both of them and you get 10 over 75 equals X over 975. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
It's only when the X is on the bottom. We don't like solving anything with X on the bottom. So what you do, you flip both of them. Okay? Now, how do I get rid of the divide by 975? So we just go 10 over 75 times 975 will give you X. And over here, so X is, when you work it out, you should get 130 mils. Okay? So that's your other way of doing this. Setting it up like, you know how rates can be written as fractions? You know, we said put one quantity over the other. So 75 milligrams over 10 mils, that ratio has to equal 975 over something else. That's another way to do this. Now we just, if X is on the bottom, flip both sides, and then we just solve for X.